Today we're into January 2024, so we're starting another set of interviews, and today we're going to talk to Lyle Rajala, who lived all his life in Nipigon, I would assume.
I grew up in Nipigon.
And worked for Bell Telephone. I don't know what else you worked for, Lyle, but we were here today just to talk about the changes that's happened in Bell and some of the experiences you had.
Oh, the technology. Well, we were working with data in the 70s, early 70s. So the new computerized stuff was based on everything that we did.
Oh, okay.
And as you know, you go from electrical to light and radar, and as we progressed through, everything started to happen. Everything got faster.
Right.
You could dial. You didn't have to phone. Remember the days, Glenna, when you had to phone the operator to get a call to Thunder Bay?
Right.
Or any long distance.
And we had our own...
We had our own exchange with
right
operators.
Here.
Yes,
right at the old library right there.
Well, that exchange then kicked into the present one we have right now. And it's...
By Gerlach's, right?
By Gerlach's, across from Gerlach's on First Street. And then it's changed, the inside of it, the guts of it have changed from a wire spring relay to a small computer chip.
Oh my.
So you used to go in there and there was all kinds of noise, click, clack, click, clack, click, clack. Now you go in there and it's quiet. So if you hear a noise now, something's wrong. In the old days, if you couldn't hear a noise, something's wrong.
Right,
So,
right.
yeah.
So how did you get started working for Bell?
Well, actually, in 1974, I was back in Nipigon from working around the Kenora, Ignace area, kicking around, did iron work, got an apprenticeship electrician. And when I ended up back in Nipigon in January of 74, Mr. Hervela, Alan Hervela, was our electronics teacher. He referred me to some fellas in Thunder Bay who were down from Calgary looking for fellas who wanted to be apprentice electricians.
Oh.
And I called them up, went and talked to them. They sent me a ticket. They sent me everything I needed to go to Calgary. And when I got there, I had a job. And it turned out to be a trailer factory. But I was in Calgary and I was working.
What's a trailer factory?
It was Atco Trailers.
Oh, yeah.
They were building
Right.
they were building a camp for the Alaska pipeline, and in them days. And I got on with AGT, Alberta Government Telephones, through a friend of mine that I was working with at the trailer plant, and I was there for 4 years. It was all right, and I ended up back in Ontario in '78, at December '78. Wonder what I'm going to do, and then went to the curling club.
It's the social
Running,
place.
right, yeah.
Right. That's
Yeah,
what they say.
with my good friend Bob Bierman Jr.
Yeah.
And we run into Bob Bierman Sr. at the curling club, and he asked me what I was doing, and I said I'm a cable splicer. He said come and see me Monday. I was working Wednesday.
Wow.
31 years. Yeah.
I forgot that Bob worked.
Yeah, he was my manager. Yeah.
Wow.
Him and I, the rest of the crew was all in Thunder Bay, but him and I were in Nipigon. So
Okay.
yeah, that's how he got me on. Is he can stay in Nipigon.
So now you said you're in Nipigon, but obviously you work the area.
Oh, you worked, everywhere from White River to the Manitoba border. You're where you needed.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So what kind of things would you have done?
Well, I would mostly on damages. In the beginning, I was a cable repair and cable splicer, which is my forte, splicing, and I was on what we call a construction crew. So we would go into a town, Terrace Bay, Nakeen, Red Rock, Nipigon, where they build new subdivisions, and we put the poles in, put the cable up, make it all work. So when they need their service, it's there.
Oh, okay.
And then I progressed to installing and learning business systems, and they taught us all that. And then once I got so many years into that, I wanted to get back into the cable end of it, and so I got back into it through the same boss, but now I'm in the same office, but I'm working cable repair. So when there was a damage, a car accident, or mostly backhoes, Yeah, they would dig it up, and then I was to go in and repair it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, you think we had damage more on the poles than we do now?
I don't believe.
I just thought maybe with the storms and that.
With lightning is a major issue, especially when you have stuff in the air.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And then it also carries into the ground. But there's as much as either way. It's the lightning that does it,
okay.
and it finds a weak spot, and that's where it burns out. So,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You wonder what attracts it, wouldn't you, to certain places?
Well, yeah. The thing is, when you're on a telephone line and you've got power above you, you usually have what they call a three-phase power. So it's big stuff, and you get all kinds of induction from it.
Okay.
And then you have to be bonded. You have to have a good ground every so many 100 meters, because lightning is it's going to hit it.
Right. Oh, wow.
Yeah, finds the easiest path to ground.
So when you worked here, and you said in the office, where was the office?
We were at Green Mantle at first.
At the big building.
Yeah,
there.
where the hydro
Right.
is now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
That's
was
what I thought.
we rented there for many years.
Right.
And then when the downsizing came in the 90s, then we were all moved up to the office because most of the equipment was coming out now, and there was room to put desks.
Ah.
And with the change over to the
Right.
microchip.
But now you mentioned the Bell building at the end of the street. I remember buying my first fax machine because they had a display or something there about the latest technology
Okay.
out from Bell. And I can
Right.
remember buying a fax machine. I think they also had a display at the curling club one time when they were advertising all kinds of new technology.
New technologies,
through
yeah.
Bell.
Right on, yeah.
Who else worked down in that office?
Well, there was John Potoff was down there.
Ken Kaufman.
Bill Kaufman.
Right.
Dan Banning. Ray Lankinen.
Oh, yes. I forgot about him.
Big Norman Flett.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, Bob Harris, Pat Harris, myself,
So
Harry
that's-
Barden.
Oh, that's more employees than I recall that having here.
Yeah,
Yes, right.
yeah.
Right. So you did a
Yeah.
big area as well.
We
You did a lot of
we
that.
all covered quite an area. Yeah,
Yeah. Wow.
yeah. It was nothing to see Ray and Dan in Nakina and Geraldton, and they were the same as us, but they worked the microwave tower.
Oh, okay.
So I had my stuff go into their tower, and then their tower would take care of long distance calls and everything.
Okay. So were you working for them before microwave towers got built?
Oh no,
They were.
no.
I don't know,
Microwave
they
went in 57, 58.
were-
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't quite remember. I was there, but I.
Now you mention it like I'm thinking. I don't even remember when there wasn't any. So
Yeah,
obviously they were before I
they
came here.
were they were in yeah
A long
yeah,
time.
Yeah, they were in a long time.
Are they still doing a big job?
I'm not sure if they're carrying much. A lot went on to fiber because of the high speed.
Right.
The microwave can't go as fast as the light.
Okay.
And when you have these high computers now, and they're so big and they talk fast, and you need 50 meg, 50 gig
Right.
just to
Right.
for photos and
Right, because the microwave towers are right across the country
they are.
from place
They
to
are. They
place
were
and-
they were the lifeline. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So tell some of the other experience. I mean, you must have been out in all kinds of weather.
Oh, absolutely.
Today is nothing.
It never breaks when it's nice out.
Right,
That was
Right.
was the saying. It never breaks when it's nice out. It's always raining or lightning.
right, or
Yeah,
storming, eh?
yeah. Water is a bad issue with electricity too. So
Right,
yeah, you get a lot of wet calls.
Mm-hmm.
In the old days, the paper, it was a paper conductor, insulated conductor, and had a lead sheath. Outside coating was lead.
okay,
So that, when movement and stuff, it leaked quite often. So that was a make work project.
right,
Once it went up, it still had to be maintained a lot. So then the technology changed to a PIC, what they call a PIC cable, which is plastic insulated cable. And then that
More flexible?
It was a little bit more flexible, had a plastic outside, So all we worried about then was it moving in the cold and the hot weather, and you didn't be concerned about as much outages.
Right.
Because once one pair got wet in the paper stuff, everything got wet.
Wow.
It was, yeah.
So always interests me is when something goes out, how do you locate exactly where?
Well, there was test sets for pretty much everything. Because some of them were, like you say, in between poles, so there was a lot of testing had to be done to pin it down. Otherwise, you're burning a lot of energy
Right.
for nothing. But there was always a test set for if the pair went open. That test set you pretty much carried with you, and you could test a line and it's open, and it'd tell you how many meters.
Okay.
So then you could go to your computer and open up your drawings, or in the old days the paper book,
Paper, okay.
and open up your book, and then the drawings would be like this long, and that'd be so many poles, and all the information, what they call the cable count, so I know what cable I'm working on, and all that kind of stuff. You would go there and take your little calculator and start adding up your footages till you got to a point.
So there must have been somebody in a department somewhere that did all those drawings.
Yes, the engineering department. Engineering department, yeah, they bought the drawings. And then we had the repair clerks in Thunder Bay. They would take all the calls coming in. We had girls in Thunder Bay that were what they called the assignment. And they would assign a cable pair and a number to everybody that called in.
Okay.
And they were very important to the outside guys, because they were the ones that we depended on
Right.
to tell us what
And they had to get the right information.
and get the right information. Exactly.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. It was an experience. Just watching you say, like you say, the technology come up, going from what we called 1A, which is a very rough wire spring relay, to the finer ones that we had up on First Street, to the microchip
Right.
today.
All of
Even
that-
the phones have changed.
All of that office in a little few chips
Yeah.
now.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
All of the office, they put up a wall, Glenna, and put desks in. That's how much stuff disappeared. Yeah. And then they wanted to keep the dusts and the doors closed on that side of the central office.
Right, right.
Yeah.
But you're right when you're saying phones, because that's what made me think about interviewing you, was when I called Bell, because I have a phone at home on the wall with a long 25-foot cord,
Yeah.
but it rings, but you can't hear much. And she said, throw it out and go to the store and buy another.
Because there's that jacking program that they had in the late 90s. Everybody went around and we put in a jack. If you took the latest in touch-tone phones,
Yeah.
and most of the places have jacks. So what she's telling you is your phone's, you don't pay, it's no good, throw it out, and
Right.
you'll probably have a jack on a wall.
Yes, they do.
Yeah. So you just and put whatever you like on there.
Got one in the garage, one in the basement, one upstairs. But really, you have to go to a Bell store. No, you just got to go to the phone
not necessarily.
store.
You can go to Canadian Tire.
Canadian Tire, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's a whole different
Oh, it's the technology just once they opened it up too.
Right.
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Because the phone in the garage is dial.
Wow.
But it worked because John Podoff lived across the road, so when something went wrong, John was always over there.
He was
to keep
always
that
over.
old
Yeah,
phone
right
going,
on. Right on. Yeah.
But it's a fun thing because when the kids come, they have no idea how to dial it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a fun thing.
Yes, I was in, I don't know how many years ago, I was on Bell Business, and I was in the air lane. And there was a bunch of young fellas from the far north in the air lane. And the young boy come up, and you remember Frankie Gentile?
Yeah.
Well, he was working there for a while when they closed up here. And I was standing there, him and I were talking, and the young fella come up and he said, "Sir, can I have a house phone?" Frankie, there, the dial phone. Kids, what's this? He'd never seen one before.
Wow.
Yeah, all he saw was,
Push button.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so that was kind of an eye-opener too.
Right.
That
But it's interesting about the phone business because every school also has an old landline, because when the power goes out, all those new phones don't work.
Well, and that's a lot of
Yes.
them have extra power.
Yes, they
yeah.
do have extra.
Yeah.
Keep those old phones on hand.
Oh, absolutely.
So they can call people in emergencies.
Yeah, I remember that we would give them a phone that they could plug in, an old phone.
Yeah,
Because when the system goes down, because it's an AC driven system.
right,
Yeah, once it goes down, that's the only thing you had to communicate.
Yeah.
But you did have some. So,
right.
yeah.
Oh no, that's always thought that was kind of important, because
Yeah.
as soon as something happens, every mother's phoning, and then there's no answer there. So that those
Yeah.
phones were pretty
A
important.
lot of blood pressures going up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those phones are pretty important.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Does Bell Telephone have such a thing as a museum somewhere, or do you know?
I believe they do. In Brantford?
Oh, of course,
Yeah.
of course.
That's where
That would make
Mr.
sense.
Bell was?
Right, right.
Yeah,
I
I
was-
believe that's where it is.
I was thinking, what a variety. I mean, we've got a few here in this museum, I suppose,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm thinking that would be an interesting.
But you can see the technology change. We went to the microchip and everything changed in the telephone.
Right.
Yeah, I've got a telephone at home. If it dropped on your foot, it would break your toes. But yet now you got one that you can sneeze and just about blow it off the table
Right.
because they're so light.
Right.
Yeah, everything is the technology is.
Yeah.
Well, you can see it in our cars. Eh?
Right.
Everything
right,
is.
right. Yeah,
But,
but you were one of the forerunners in that, so you've seen a lot of changes.
A lot of changes,
And
yeah.
People who work with the phones today are never going to see the changes
No,
that you did.
no.
that you did.
We've even up until 1985, they used open wire, just a bare copper wire, looked like CPR.
Oh,
Yeah, and that's what run Pine Portage Dam from Cameron Falls.
okay.
There was 2 pair of open wire run from up there that we maintained. That was a fun line. There was trees all the time, and but it was basic electricity.
Right.
That's
Right.
everything is based on that.
Right.
Yeah, battery to ground.
Because I did find an old article. I have no idea where I got it, but it's about the start of the phones and how Geraldton actually got all the phone system before Nipigon, and
Yeah.
I was really surprised.
Northern
when I read-
Telephone.
Yeah, and I was surprised when I read that little
Yeah.
article.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
Geraldton
is-
was ahead of us. Yeah,
Yeah, started up there before
yeah.
it came
I
here.
spent lots of time in Geraldton too.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, before all this mining stuff started. Yeah.
right. Yeah, it's just a interesting time of change, and it's so important. What do we do when the phones go down? Eh?
Yeah,
Everybody panics because they don't know how to contact anybody.
and a lot of it now too with the cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I remember 1966, 67, talking on a phone and looking at the person was something that you saw in Star Wars. Now it's everybody does it. You
Right,
know,
you're
right?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they're
No, just the fact that we've gone from that big bulky phone you said
Yeah.
to that little tiny thing you hold in your hand, and it's doing a better job.
yeah. Well, look where
I know.
who thought? Eh?
I know. And then there's less than that. I mean, this is a big one.
Yeah.
They're smaller than that,
Yeah.
and they carry 50 times more stuff.
Oh.
Or 100 times
Some
more
people
stuff.
have their whole life on them.
Yeah, they do.
You know, like telephone was just a black thing that hung on the wall.
Yeah.
You know, when somebody needed something.
And Herman often talks about living on the farm with a phone that needed a battery. They'd take it out of the radio, put it in the phone, and then back in the radio so
Yeah.
they could listen to the program.
And they had
Like
big ones, them big 1.5 volt.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so big
1 minute.
changes.
Yeah.
I just want to talk to Lyle a little bit more about how busy his dad was as a mechanic in Nipigon, and the
Yeah.
places he worked and some of the things he did, because Herman still can only picture your dad with that old truck. That old truck that never quit.
Yeah.
He kept it going all that time. Anyway, to
he
start
went,
out,
that old truck, he actually, are we talking with the black fenders and the yellow cab?
yeah,
Yeah, he was on his way out to Alberta to give my sister a hand to move home. She wanted to move back to Ontario. Things weren't working out. And he saw it in a field in Saskatchewan. So he stopped in and talked to the man and gave him $500 to hold it for him, went to Lethbridge, picked up my sister, brought her back to Nipigon, and then took another week off and went out to Saskatchewan with his trailer and picked up the truck and brought it home and rebuilt it. And he could do that. He did it to I don't know how many vehicles. 1934 Dodge. He got off of Mr. Inget. Old Inget. Him and Mr. Inget were very good friends. And it was in the gully behind Bill's house. And $15. And they got a tow truck and they pulled it out. And what Alvin liked about it was there was no broken windows and no broken headlights or lights. All the lights were intact.
Right.
Yeah, he brought that home. Had suicide doors and big running boards. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he did that one. New motor in that one. But he would do that after work.
Right, after work.
Yeah.
How did your dad come to live in Nipigon? You remember? Do you know?
How did he come?
Yeah.
His father, I think they missed the Titanic.
Oh.
And his older brother and his older sister, and the parents came across on another boat.
Oh.
And how they ended up in Nipigon, I have no idea.
Right.
Lots of Finns were.
Right, and they did because they always said the climate was similar to places.
And the
in
topography too of the land was.
Yes, you're right.
Looked a lot like Finland.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So your dad was here a long time.
Yeah, yeah.
So tell me who
he was born in Nipigon.
He was born here.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Tell me then where he worked then in different places.
Well, geez, in the early days he worked for Rudy Hendricken.
Yep.
Then he moved, I believe he moved from there into Wright Motors. And he was at Elgar's till Elgar retired, and he went up to Brennan's. But he had lots of work at home. There was always people dropping in to get an idea, you know, what was going on.
Right.
Yeah.
So maybe mention where Rudy Hendrickens was, because people who hear this are not going to know where Rudy's garage was.
Wasn't Rudy's up on the highway?
At Brennan's, right?
At Brennan's, yes.
Right. Yes. Where Brennan's was.
Yeah, in the early days.
Yeah.
And to get there from the farm, Eric bought at the end of Hogan Road.
Yeah.
That was his farm there.
Okay.
Alvin could go through the bush and get right there. Come out at where what's that new building there? Used to be the tourist.
Oh, the TIC building, a tourist information.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, on that road there.
Damn nice building.
Right. But I know that Phil Fournier always talked about his Uncle Rudy, and he used to like to go up to the garage.
Right on, yeah.
Did he have gas pumps there?
They did.
They did.
They did, yeah.
So his was one of the older places up there.
Must have been.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, Alvin was there in the early days. He did a lot of learning from Rudy, he told me. But he was just an intelligent man.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So then Elgar, of course, was at the four-way, a stop that we know it now.
Yes.
And Elgar had his garage there for many, many, many years.
Yes. And Edmar was across the street.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So they were both doing mainly the same thing, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Did Edmar sell vehicles?
He did.
He did.
Yeah. He was Olds and Chevy.
Okay.
And Elgar was Chrysler's.
Chrysler's. Yeah. Interesting. Then in the small town, we had that, and then you went to Clark Motors.
Yes.
And you got the other brands.
Yes.
So
when you think about it, there was a lot of business in Nipigon that, we can see it now.
For vehicles, yes, for sure.
But there was money, there was work, and there was lots of money, and the town supported 4 hotels.
Yes, 4 hotels and 4 garages.
And 4 garages, yeah.
Yes, wow. And that would have been partly because of Pine Portage workers at one time,
a lot,
bush workers, right?
Yeah,
yes.
Bush workers, but then the hydro started going through, pipelines started going through,
right.
There was seemed to be always somebody moving into town.
Right. So everybody needed a vehicle.
And everybody needed a vehicle,
And it had to be maintained.
Yeah.
And again, the technology, when you think how your dad would be shaking his head looking at under the hood of the vehicle now compared to when he did it.
Yeah, he would. He was there through the change, and when automatic transmissions were coming in, I remember him talking about that. And he took me out to the garage and showed me that old 34 had a switch that would change it from automatic to standard.
Oh.
Yeah, so I don't know.
And that was what he did.
That
to do
yeah,
it. He
well,
was able to do
it
that.
was already there, but nobody really talked about it.
Right.
You know,
right.
like advertised or anything. So.
Who else worked with your dad at Elger's? Can you remember anybody?
Oh, geez, yeah.
Was it Olga
Marvin
there
Sallow.
then?
Marvin Sallow.
Oh, did Olga work there then?
Olga worked there, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Olga was the bookkeeper, right?
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
Olga Jalkinen.
Yeah, she was a really nice lady, but a little rough on the edges. That's all. Yeah.
But that's what made her who she was.
That's what made her who she was. Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
She got along with everybody.
Yes.
So I forgot about Marvin working there.
Yeah,
right?
Marvin Sallow, I remember.
So was Elger himself at all a mechanic or mechanically inclined, or he?
No, I think he was just a businessman. I never saw him get dirty.
Okay.
So,
okay.
yeah.
Okay. I'm thinking about that when I'm talking to you. That I never know. I know that he did the drive testing for people.
Right on.
Yeah. So no, I just remember Elger doing the driving test because when I went there to drive, all I had to do was drive him up to Swanson's store to buy a quart of milk, back down again, and I passed my driver's license. I never forgotten that, and I think what they go through today to get a driver's license. Eh?
Yeah.
But he was quite a social person too. He was involved in a lot of things
right on.
in Nipigon, but I never knew that if he had that background of being a mechanic. Or not.
No.
It was just the business.
Like I say, I never saw him with a wrench in his hand. And I pumped gas for a couple of summers for Elger.
Oh yeah, I forgot he had gas
too.
pumps
So
too.
yeah,
yes, for sure.
Yeah, 35 cents an hour and 50 cents a gallon.
And I think that one time Albert Brennan told us he worked for Elger.
He did.
Yes.
Yeah. He was
young.
Started an apprenticeship there.
Yes, that's what he said.
Because I remember.
So who would he apprentice under? Your dad?
He would apprentice under Alvin. Yeah.
Yes.
Because when Chrysler was changing, technology was changing. They'd send films up and books, and the old man would bring all the guys down to our place, and they'd have their little course.
Oh.
And Albert wanted to buy a pair of boots like Alvin had, slip-ons, fairly high, like a modified cowboy boot. And he brought it to work, and he had them on at work in his blue jeans, and Alvin always shook his head, you know. You got to wear green work pants, and you keep your boots tucked in, your pants go outside. Well, Albert stuck his in, and a great big piece of molten metal dropped down into his boot when he was cutting off a muffler. Burned a hole just about an inch thick into his boot, into his foot, and he was down the next day for that course. Well, he got a lot of ribbon that afternoon.
Changed his pants, eh? Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Yeah. No, I just so. And then you said after Elger retired, your dad went to.
He went up to David and Albert Brennan's garage.
Yeah. So
he fell right in there like everybody knew him. Right. Albert had apprenticed under him.
Right.
So him and Leo Bloom and Carlo Gelman or Carlo Kostanen, I'm sorry. Yeah,
yes.
There was a few.
Right. So there again, we had the garages that they could move from place to place.
Yeah.
But your dad never worked at Clark Motors.
I don't believe he did.
No,
I don't believe he did. No.
Yeah. Okay. That's good.
He worked for Edmar for a little while, but that was just a fill-in thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. No, I just we often still say, and Herman will say, everybody said Alvin was the best mechanic there was around. So it was your dad self-taught, you think?
I think.
Yeah.
I think, on the farm. And, I think he was. His brother was a mechanic, too. So
okay.
His older brother, Wilco.
Okay.
Willow.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting, though, how you fall into a career like that.
Yeah. In the day, grade 10, you start bringing home stuff from high school about college and post-secondary education, and I brought it home and I was looking at it. My mother was looking at it, and he looked at it and he looked at me and he said, get your grade 12 and an apprenticeship. He said, I'm not sending you to college. Just
And
like,
you know what?
and
That's exactly what it needs to be now, isn't
and
it?
that's what I did.
It's full circle now.
Yes.
Because that's the important thing now.
Right on.
Yes.
You need at least.
Yeah.
And then that's what he said. Get your grade 12, get an apprenticeship, because companies are paying for you to go
Yes.
and learn their work.
Right.
But you got to show them you can learn.
Right. Right.
Yeah, so that was, yeah. But Nipigon High did great for me.
Right.
You know, I got pension and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. No, Alan was down at Christmas and we were just talking about some of the things they did, and some of the teachers were amazing teachers.
They were, yeah. In
and-
1967, Nipigon High was comparable to any high school in the city.
Yes, it was.
We had drafting, woodworking, welding, auto mechanics, electrical. Even the girls had home ec.
Right.
And so, I mean, it was there.
Yeah.
And
Well, Alice took welding when she went to school, and
Right
and
on.
now, and that was rare. But now girls can be as welder as well as a
Yeah.
man, if not better. In some
oh, absolutely,
instances.
absolutely,
You
yeah.
know, you're right.
Yeah,
So
Christine took it. My wife took welding too.
Yeah.
But she said all the boys would heat up their pliers and play awful tricks on them. So
Right,
it wasn't a lot of fun. But
right. Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah. Apprenticeships are a big thing, and it's right back again now.
yeah,
Full
our friend from
circle.
Scriber dropped over with her little dog. She's looking for somebody to babysit if she has to, and it was unreal to see her come in with this little puppy, and how it took to our big mastiff.
Oh.
It was incredible to watch. That,
Right.
you know, if everybody could get along like that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's for sure.
If everybody could get along like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, for sure. Okay, well, good talking to you, and thank
Well,
you
thanks for
very
having
much
me.
for
Yeah,
coming.
right
Thank you.
on.
Thanks.
Right on.